And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And as usual, we've got a fantastic show lined up for you today. I think you're going to have a great time with us. We're going to be discussing what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then, of course, we'll continue our new segment, The Rest of the Story, with Paul Harvey, or actually a tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. On today's special segment, we're going to have John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and I. We'll be talking about conservative politics and the lack thereof, I guess. And that'll be on our semi-weekly simulcast. And then David Garrett's going to be here a little later on. He'll be talking about Garrett on the Law, talking about current events and the law and the things that are going on. But right now at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, I want you to know that it's 88 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 64 degrees, and we're headed for a fantastic weekend. Hope yours will be as nice. But right now, let's talk about the 10 things that you need to know that'll be in the news today and tomorrow probably. And we've abbreviated them, encapsulated them somewhat, so we can kind of give you an idea of what's going on. And you can talk to your friends, your neighbors, your peers, and they'll know that you know what's going on. Then we'll do a little more in-depth stuff. But right now, here's the 10 things you need to know for today, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and probably again tomorrow. And first up, well, North Korea says it conducted higher-level nuclear warhead tests. Pyongyang trumpets that it can build at will an array of stronger, smaller, and lighter nuclear weapons after its fifth atomic test and the second in 8 months, while Seoul slams frantic recklessness. And expectations are low for a Syrian ceasefire agreement as the war rages. Meeting in Geneva, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry opens the fourth set of negotiations with his Russian counterpart in the last 2 weeks. And Trump denies Russia's influence. The Republican presidential nominee says it's probably unlikely that Moscow is trying to influence the U.S. election in an interview aired on a television station funded by the Russian government. Yeah, well, how about this? What state is bracing for a key federal ruling? Well, a judge is set to rule on the 4-state Dakota Access Pipeline that has drawn thousands of protesters to a construction site in North Dakota in recent weeks. And then Hajj nears in Saudi Arabia, the country that hosts the holiest sites in Islam, says it's done all it can to prevent a repeat of last year's deadly stampede. You know what? These people just don't get it. And why a founder's legacy is mixed. 40 years after the death of Mao Zedong, who founded the People's Republic of China, he remains a revered figure, but one whose reputation is deeply tarnished by the destruction of the ultra-radical 1966-1976 Cultural Revolution, and where an insurgency has left children starving. As children die of starvation, northern Nigeria faces a famine unlike any that we have ever seen, according to the United Nations. They are the latest victims of Boko Haram's insurgency. And NASA begins its first asteroid sampling mission. It's on a 7-year quest chasing after the unexplored Bennu to gather bite-sized bits of ancient space rock from a cold hold clues to the origin of life, or it could actually. And a giant luxury liner is heading for the Arctic. It's carrying well-heeled passengers on a historic journey, the largest cruise ship ever to traverse the Northwest Passage. The voyage was made possible by melting ice in the Arctic, brought on by climate change. And then finally, Serena exits the U.S. Open. Serena Williams, her bid to make history ends again with a shocking loss in the semifinals, leaving her tied with Steffi Graf's record of 23 majors and Graf's stay of 186 consecutive weeks at number 1. Well, go figure. Well, let's get into a little bit more in-depth stuff. Let's talk about North Korea. You know, in Seoul, North Korea's fifth nuke test is a fanatic recklessness. North Korea said that it conducted a high-level nuclear test explosion on Friday, or this morning, that will allow it, or actually it was yesterday, because that was yesterday in Korea. In any event, that'll allow it to finally build an array of stronger, smaller, and lighter nuclear weapons. It was the North's fifth atomic test and the second in 8 months. South Korea's president said that the detonation, which Seoul estimated was the North's biggest ever in explosive yield, was an act of fanatic recklessness and a sign that leader Kim Jong-un is spiraling out of control. President Barack Obama condemned the test and said the United States would never accept the country as a nuclear power. Well, accept it or not, they seem to have nukes and they seem to be powering through them. North Korea's boast of a technologically game-changing nuclear test defied both tough international sanctions and long-standing diplomatic pressure to curb its nuclear ambitions. It will raise serious worries in many world capitals that North Korea has moved another step closer to its goal of a nuclear-armed missile that could one day strike the United States mainland. Boy, and then you know we got trouble, right? Yeah, you know, no question about that. That's just the way it works. Well, Trump's chief won't reveal North Korea plan as tensions mount. Yeah, why not? Hours after North Korea tested the nuclear technology, Donald Trump's campaign chief refused today to outline the Republican presidential nominee's approach to rising tensions on the Korean Peninsula as both White House contenders increasingly focus on national security. Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway pressed repeatedly on Trump's plan, said only he wouldn't do what's being done now. He's not going to reveal all of his plans, and he's made that very clear, and maybe someone can ask him in a debate, Conway told CBS this morning. But the fact is that this entire world would be put on notice that there's a strong leader in the White House. You know what? Just so much more rhetoric. I can't even stand this stuff anymore. It just seems to me that it's just all baloney. You know, all baloney. We've got two people running for the White House that 70% of the nation doesn't respect and doesn't have confidence in. Well, feds halt work on part of an oil pipeline despite a court ruling. An American Indian tribe's attempt to halt construction of an oil pipeline near its North Dakota reservation failed in federal court on Friday or this morning. But the government ordered work to stop on one segment and asked the company to voluntarily pause work on a wider swath that tribal officials say holds sacred artifacts. The Standing Rock Sioux, whose cause has drawn thousands to join their protest, had challenged the Army Corps of Engineers' decision to grant permits at more than 200 water crossings for the $3.8 billion Dakota Access Pipeline. Tribal leaders say the project violates several federal laws and will harm water supplies. The tribe also alleges that ancient sites have been disturbed during construction. U.S. District Judge James Bossberg in Washington denied the tribe's request for a temporary injunction in a 58-page opinion. You know what? That just makes no sense. Anyway, we're going to come back. We're going to talk some more. We're going to talk about explaining what is the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:12 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 88 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64 degrees. But you know what? 88 degrees in Southern California, I mean, it's really nice. It's just beautiful out there. No smog, just clean, fresh air, a little breeze, and it's just no humidity. It's fantastic. Well, let's talk about news. Let's explain what's the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline. Let's talk about it. You know, you heard me say that a federal judge has denied the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe's request to stop construction of the four-state, $3.8 billion Dakota Access Pipeline. Now, the lawsuit alleges that the pipeline, which would be placed less than a mile upstream of the tribe's reservation, could impact drinking water for more than 8,000 tribal members and millions who rely on it downstream. Protesters and private security guards recently clashed on private land where the tribe says construction disturbed ancient sacred sites. Here's a look at the planned pipeline and the tribe's ongoing protest. You know, after a fiery train derailment, a massive pipeline was planned, owned by Dallas-based Energy Transfer Partners. The $3.8 billion, 1,172-mile project would carry nearly 500,000 barrels of crude oil daily from North Dakota's oil fields through South Dakota and Iowa to an existing pipeline in Patoka, Illinois, where shippers can access Midwest and Gulf Coast markets, announced in 2014. Supporters said the pipeline would create more markets and reduce truck and oil train traffic, the latter of which has been a growing concern after a spat of fiery derailments of trains carrying North Dakota's crude. Well, the tribe sue over water and sacred sites. The Standing Rock Sioux's lawsuit challenged the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers' decision to grant permits at more than 200 water crossings, failed on behalf of the tribe by the environmental group Earth Justice. The suit says the project violates several federal laws, including the National Historic Preservation Act, and will disturb sacred sites outside of the 2.3 million acre reservation. A separate lawsuit filed Thursday by the Yankton Sioux tribe in South Dakota challenges the same thing. Now, the the ETA says that the pipeline includes safeguards such as leak detection equipment and workers monitoring the pipeline remotely in Texas could close block valves on it within 3 minutes if a breach actually was detected. Well, how many times have we heard safeguards are out there and seen millions and millions of gallons of oil spew out and ruin our shorelands and in our environment? Well, protesters set up a camp. A movement is growing out there. Since April, there's been a tribal protest held mostly by members of the Standing Rock Sioux at the confluence of the Cannonball and Missouri rivers. It's grown considerably as they've been joined by other American Indians and other non-Native Americans from across the country, including celebrities such as Divergent actress Shailene Woodley. Well, nearly 40 have been arrested as the protest has grown in size, including Standing Rock Sioux Tribal Chairman David Archambault II. None of the arrests stemmed from Saturday's confrontation between protesters and the construction workers. Well, you know what? And now all of a sudden the politicians are going to get into the fray. Leave it to them, right? Just makes sense, doesn't it? Oh, let's talk about this. California prosecutors to charge 7 officers in a sex scandal. Prosecutors said today they will charge 7 current and former San Francisco Bay Area officers in a sexual misconduct scandal involving a teenager. The wide-ranging scandal surfaced when a teenage girl who described herself as a prostitute said she had sex with about 30 law enforcement officials in Oakland and elsewhere in the region. Alameda County District Attorney Nancy O'Malley said she was waiting to formally file charges until the teen could be returned to California from Florida, where she's been jailed in an assault case. The prosecutor said she needs the teen to provide testimony in the case. O'Malley said the officers who will be charged are former Contra Costa Sheriff Deputy Ricardo Perez, former Livermore police officer Dan Black, Oakland police officers Brian Burton, Giovanni Laverdi, and Werit Utapa, and former Oakland police officers Tyrell Smith and Leroy Johnson. The officers will be charged with a range of felonies and misdemeanors, O'Malley said. The teen, now 19, said that she had sex with 4 officers before she turned 18 and sometimes traded sex for protection from arrest or tips about planned prostitution stings. The Associated Press generally doesn't identify people who say that they're the victims of sex crimes, but you know what? That's the thing that's going on. Now, I just got a brand new Associated Press alert just came in. John Kerry says United States, Russia are announcing a plan to reduce violence in Syria and lead to a peace and a political transition. Well, how many times have we heard that before? I'm should I say skeptical? That would probably be what I would have to say. Well, let me leave you with this one. We have a news break. Chief was investigated for illegal gun sales. Yeah, you heard me right. A Mississippi police chief killed himself soon after learning that authorities were investigating allegations that he illegally sold city-owned firearms, including an assault rifle, a sheriff's official said just today. Hancock County Chief Deputy Don Bass told the Associated Press that Bay St. Louis Police Chief Mike DiNardo illegally sold one city-owned assault rifle, and that authorities were looking into allegations that other city-owned weapons were sold as well. Wow, can you imagine? It just goes on and on and on. Is there ever going to be any good news on our forecast? I don't know. I'd like to hear some for a change. We did some yesterday. Anyway, don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do the IRS loses. First case is they cannot extend a statute of limitations without omitted income. And I'll tell you all about that after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's getting warmer here. It's now 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64, though, so it's getting hotter and it's going to get cooler. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 89 degrees and it's overcast. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 77 degrees and it's overcast. But right now, let's talk about the IRS loses. This ought to put a smile on your face. First case up is the IRS cannot extend the statute of limitations without omitted income. Here's the deal. The IRS assessed tax against a partnership saying that its partners had overstated their tax basis in it, which caused their income from it to be understated. Now, the partnership objected that the 3-year statute of limitations had expired before the assessment. The IRS answered that the partners had understated their income by more than 25%, so the limitation period was extended to 6 years. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. The 6-year period applies only when a return omits 25% of gross income, not when net income is miscalculated using items reported on the return, as in the case here. Now, omits means something left out and not something put in and overstated. The partnership escapes the tax. Shame on the IRS. Well, here's another one the IRS lost. They cannot get a case dismissed on a technicality. Here's the deal. A company filed a wrongful levy suit against the IRS, which answered that the deadline for doing so had passed. The company replied that it had first made an administrative request to the IRS to return the funds, which extended the deadline. The IRS answered that this would extend the deadline only if the request met several technical requirements. Since the company had to prove that it did, but it hadn't attached a copy to its filing to prove it, its filing was defective. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. You know what? It's too soon to dismiss the case on this technicality. The company will get a chance to produce a copy of the request to produce or prove that it met all of the requirements. Shame on the IRS. They just want to get to you, you know? Here's one more for you. The IRS loses. A delay costs tax, get this, in 22 cases. Yep. You know, the tax code says that after a partnership settles a dispute with the IRS has 1 year to assess the resulting tax due to against the partners personally as individuals. Now, here's a case. A complex partnership dispute consolidating 22 court cases was settled by an exchange of letters between the partners and the IRS. But the IRS didn't assess tax against the partners within a year, so they said that they escaped it. The IRS answered that the settlement wouldn't be final until a closing agreement had been signed. Well, they went to court. This is what the judge said. The letters agreeing to settlement were legally binding on both sides. In them, the IRS never required a closing agreement. It can't do so after the fact. So the partners, escape the tax. You got to love this stuff. Well, you've heard me talk many, many times about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. Just a little bit like, the Twilight Zone. Well, this is not actually a tax court case, so it's not a precedent kind of deal like that. But these are things that the IRS has taken a stand on, and things that they're doing, and things that if you know about it, you can help protect yourself. And it does set some kind of a notice that's sitting out here. And you know, here's the deal: when a routine audit turns into a criminal investigation, think about it. You know what? It's not unusual for a revenue agent to uncover criminal conduct, and that's the intent to evade tax during a routine audit. For instance, personal expenses may have been claimed as business expenses, or income may not have been reported because the checks were negotiated by a check cashing service and were not entered as gross income on the tax return. How do you protect yourself? Well, do not let the accountant who prepared your tax return get involved with your audit. Why? He or she may ultimately become a witness against you if there's a criminal trial. Also, the accountant may incriminate you during the course of the examination. My client told me that the personal expenses should be claimed as business expenses. Yeah, well, excuse me. If someone commits tax fraud, he should hire an experienced criminal tax attorney to handle the audit, starting with the very first phone call to the revenue agent. Guaranteed, don't let your accountant do this work. Let me give you one more case here. The IRS right now is delaying refunds for international filers. Well, it seems unfair, right? Well, listen, non-residents filing Form 1040-ENR, that's non-residency, can expect to wait for their refunds relating to their last tax returns. These tax returns are now being processed in Dallas instead of Philadelphia, where they had been processed for years. Now, calling the IRS and asking about the status of your refund is virtually useless, since many of these tax returns have not even been posted on their computer system. So what do? If the IRS does not have a record of your tax return, send it another signed copy together with a cover letter explaining that you were informed that there is no record of the first return that you filed. Now send the return by certified mail, return receipt requested. Ask your accountant to mail the tax return on your behalf. If you're located outside of the country, try to get the name of the person that you can address your letter to. And the best bet, follow up every 2 weeks and try to get a manager to take a personal interest in your case. That's the best way to make these things happen. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be with John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and then the two of them and I are going to be talking about politics, guaranteed. I have no idea what exactly we're going to talk about, but I can guarantee you it'll be interesting. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? At 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64 degrees. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, you know what? It looks like it is 63 degrees and clear, and in Rome it's 70 degrees and clear. But you know what? What we're waiting for right now is John Matthews, Joe Hakos to show up. We're going to be doing our semi-weekly simulcast. He should be calling in about 30 seconds or so, and we'll guaranteed we're going to be talking about conservative politics. I have no idea where he's going to be. He's either going to be castigating Obama or Clinton or Trump, or maybe he'll talk about Gary Johnson, the third party candidate who just really blew it with regards to Aleppo the other day. So I have no idea what John's going to be talking about, but we'll be talking to John very shortly. He's he's a really astute guy, and that's all he talks about Monday through Friday is conservative politics. You want to listen to John when you get a chance, but not during our show, because he broadcasts at the same time that we do from 3 to 5 p.m. So you want to listen to one of his archives, and that's the best way to listen to John. In any event, I'm guessing he ought to be calling in here any second. He's running just a little bit late, and I'm not sure I know why. So let's see if I can't maybe gotta get a hold of him. I'm not sure what's squeaking by here. You know what? There we go. And we are with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, there he is. And yeah, we've got Bob Cardoza from Robert Cardoza live with us. How you doing today, Bob?
You know what? I'm feeling much better. Thanks for asking. I got one of those, my grandson decided to give me a gift, which was a sore throat and a runny nose and what felt like the flu. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate him doing that for me.
Yeah. What are kids for?
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of like payback, when my grandkids come over here, I spoil the hell out of them and then I send them home and let their parents deal with it.
Well, that's what we're supposed to do, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. I don't know what the heck's going on.
A little bit of a payback there, buddy.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's interesting because I tell everybody I never get sick. You know what? The last 3-4 weeks, it just seems like it's this recurring thing with my throat and my nose and my grandson. And he's the guy that actually every time gives it to me. I've never seen a kid get sick so doggone much in my life. And then, of course, when he gets sick, where does he want to stay? He wants to stay with Grandpa.
Oh, well, we have a rule around here. You're sick, don't even bother to come by.
I thought I had that rule too, but I think I got overruled. Hey, listen, what do you think about all the stuff that's going on with Putin and Trump and Hillary and this is just and Johnson? My God, did you see
that dog food that they keep advertising?
Yeah, Aleppo. You know what? God, I wish I had thought about that.
I used to feed the dog that all the time.
Yeah, and with the same result, right?
It was great. Gary Johnson came over and said, "That's some good stuff you're feeding your dog."
Yeah, it came out a little smelly.
Where do they make that stuff at?
Maybe they should be creating some kind of food for aged politicians. You see those dog commercials. You see those dog food commercials.
Yeah.
The dog's like a day away from dying, and they start feeding him food. Next thing you know, he's up there, chasing the ball and everything else. Maybe we need something like that with Hillary, because it sure looks like something's going on. Let me get your take on that first. I had another topic, but I wanted to get. What do you think about this? I mean, there's some pretty evident things that are out there that are showing this woman, she may not be a day away from death, but there seems to be an awful concerted effort to make it look like she's in perfect health, and along that line, she was trying to use this idea, the FBI notes that came out and everything. Her concussion apparently jarred her memory, and she can't remember certain things, like anything to do with her emails, and it makes me it makes me wonder, why is nobody questioning her health, her physical health, as much as they're questioning Donald Trump's mental health?
You know what? I think her memory is kind of canned in a jar someplace. But and I hate to defend anybody, so I'm gonna do this in a general way with regard to Trump and Hillary. There's no question. I've got to tell you, I've done a lot of public speaking, John. So have you, Joe. I'm assuming you have too. And I've also had a big job where I was traveling around and having meeting after meeting after meeting, and it does take its toll. It's a tough thing, and if you're not in really good health, it begins to show. And there have been times, and I hate to do this in a defense mode, but there have been times when I went on one of these coughing binges and I couldn't stop, and it just what happens when you're talking. Matter of fact, happened to me today while I was doing the news. I got this tickle in my throat, and I had to cough. It didn't go on and on, but I had to cough. But that doesn't mean that you're in bad health. On the other hand, you look at Donald Trump, and the same thing. I mean, he looks like he's gonna. If he opens his eyes, he's gonna bleed to death. This guy has got bloodshot eyes. He's tired. He can't think on his feet or on his butt. He's not thinking at all. And I still come back to the same old thing. I don't want to defend either one of them because I don't like either one of them. I guess I join the other 70% of the United States citizens who don't like our choices.
Yeah, it seems that way. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I agree that doing something like campaigning is way beyond the pale in terms of the amount of energy and commitment that you got to have. Earlier in the year, I hitched my wagon a little bit with Deborah Pauley out here, who was running for state assembly, and just the little time that I spent with her was exhausting.
Yeah.
She hits the road at 6 o'clock in the morning. She's up at 10, 11 o'clock night and nonstop, going places, meeting people, raising money, all the things that they've got to do. And, I'm like, that's why that one thing convinced me that I would never run for a political office. I would not want to put that kind of energy into campaigning. It would be exhausting. But I think the latest thing that I was hearing here just last night, the big thing, there's something about Fox News. They love majoring in the minors these days. and they spent an entire segment talking about whether or not Hillary Clinton was wearing an earpiece in the forum the other night. Now, here's my opinion on it. I'll get your opinion, Bob. My opinion's real quick here. I wear an earpiece, but it's called a hearing aid. That's what. Okay, it's not an earpiece. It's not jewelry. It's a hearing aid.
Yeah.
And you wear it because you either have a hard time hearing, or people that are usually talking into microphones need a monitor, so that they can hear. You got to be able to hear your voice in a certain way.
Oh, sure.
That kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, that could be it. But then the way Hillary was performing, and it's like Lair would be trying to close up a topic, and she'd be trying to interject something else in the middle of it. And I'm thinking maybe somebody's whispering in her ear, "Hey, you're supposed to say this or say this." So, because I don't put anything past her, but I think there is something wrong with this woman, and it may not be a major thing. But what makes it a major thing is that when they try to cover it up.
John, you don't have to think there's something wrong with this woman. The FBI has already proven there's something wrong with this woman. For some reason, they decided to let her get away with it. You and I would be thrown in jail to throw away the key we'd never get out if we had done what she's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, along that line, I want to throw the question here at you, what I really wanted to talk to you about today. One of the things that Hillary Clinton alluded to the other night in the fight against ISIS, is that we need to do more to protect or prevent the radicalization of people into Islam through the internet, which was, I think, a clear shot across the bow that the government wants to start nationalizing or controlling some of these things. They've already done it by taking over the net neutrality issue. And one of the things that I'm seeing out here, one of the things I'm hearing out here, is this whole idea of nationalizing. See, this is how the Democrats are playing the hack, the DNC hack, the emails hack from the Russians and everything. First, Nancy Pelosi's out there telling everybody, don't pay any attention to what comes across, because the Russians are the ones that hack and are giving us misinformation. They're saying the Russians are the ones putting all this information out there for the purpose of getting Trump elected and this, that, and the other. And then you have this whole idea here that what's happening here is that the internet, it needs to be controlled, and now they want to, quote unquote, nationalize the elections. They want to put it under federal jurisdiction because they're afraid people are going to hack into the election machines and I guess steal all those dead voters that vote for Democrats every year. So that I wanted to get your take on that. If you've been following that at all, Jay Johnson came out the other day and basically said, we, in the interest of national security, we need to give the control of the elections to the administration that couldn't build a website for healthcare. Okay.
you know what, John? If you think about it historically, the way the government takes away the property. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the same administration has had the State Department hacked into, has had the White House hacked into, has had the DNC headquarters hacked into, and it had Congress people's emails hacked into. Yeah, we want to give our cybersecurity over to these people to make sure that the elections are fair.
Yeah, okay. I'd be more inclined to give it to Apple and let them handle it. Here's the thing. Historically, the way that the American people have lost rights, and I'm not talking about privileges, I'm talking about rights, is the internet is a public entity. It was created by the public, for the public, and not by the government. And the government now wants to kind of take it over and do all their things. But historically, every time we lose a right, every time we lose a privilege, the government just kind of chips away and chips away and chips away before what you wind up having is a George Orwell's 1984 in reality in 2006 here, and it just seems to me that that's exactly what's going to happen. If we let the government do these things, then we're going to turn around one day and our government's not going to be any different than the Ukraine or anywhere else.
Well, I understand that the internet, Obama's plan here is to turn the internet, if he hasn't done it already, turn the internet over to world control. I think somebody at the international level, UN level or something, is supposed to now take over the ICANNs.
Yes, ICANN. They're already trying to give the ICANN away. Basically, the people that sell and register domain names, right, give that over. Stuff that we've kept in the U.S. hands since its inception, and they want to give it to the world.
Yeah, I want to get, and man, I can just see the bureaucracy there. You want to buy a domain name, and they want to know why you want that domain name.
Well, you haven't forgotten about when the government wanted to contract with Saudi Arabia to handle all of our port functions, have you?
No.
I remember that.
Well, that was a number of years ago that the U.S. government was seriously entertaining contracting with Saudi Arabia to have them come into the United States and run all of our port activities. You know what? So what the heck are they doing?
It would save on the long distance calls to the IT centers.
Well,
yes. It would also help out with the Muslim Brotherhood because you know where they're at. They're controlling all the ports.
Yeah.
We got to take a quick break here. We'll continue our conversation here with Bob.
And we'll be right back with John Matthews and Joe Hakels right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The interview starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with the interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value shot in a state-of-the-art studio. What's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert in the trust of your target market. Educate in a way that intrigues your audience. Gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses. Websites, video sharing, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:49 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're in our syndicated global network somewhere, you have to be in Paris, France. Well, you know what? It's 83 degrees and clear. And in Rome, Italy, it's 70 degrees and clear. I'd like to be in either one of those places, that's for sure. Well, we're waiting for our good buddy John Matthews and Joe Hakos to call back in. We're doing our semi-weekly syndication or simulcast with them, and they'll be calling back in a second. They're still in their commercial break, but you know what? It's going to be a phenomenal going on. We've been talking about a lot of things. We've been laughing a little bit. It's you know, you just can't be serious. Anyway, we're back with John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
It's Bob Cardoza.
Hello, Ben.
Okay, let's do this. We got about maybe 5-6 minutes here, Bob. I wanted to get your impression. Did you catch any of the Commander-in-Chief forum the other night?
Yeah, I did. It was such a waste of an hour.
Okay. What stood out to you the most?
Well, you know what? First of all, I thought that Matt Lauer was inept. I was really disappointed with the way that he handled everything. He didn't control anything. The first thing he did is he told Hillary Clinton, "We're not going to be using this forum to bombast your opponent. We want to hear what your terms are." And the very first words out of her mouth was, "Well, my opponent has said," and that kind of stuff. You know, she's not going to follow the rules now, and she's not going to follow if she gets elected, she's not going to follow the rules then. And we know she hasn't followed the rules in the past. So, you know what? I don't know what anybody would have expected. It just seems to me that whole thing was worthless. It's just a waste of an hour. And I felt the same way on Trump's side of the thing. You know what? It just, I kept telling my wife, I says, I don't know why I'm watching this thing. It's out of habit now. Anything that comes up political, I watch it. And at the end of it, I wind up being disappointed and thinking, well, what the heck? Am I the mental idiot or are they the mental idiots? I don't get this.
Well, if you weren't watching it, then you would qualify for a job at MSNBC.
Boy, that's for sure. You know what? And you know what? And they did it on MSNBC and NBC. You would have thought that, you know, that they would have done some homework to get this thing done professionally. I mean, I even saw, it looked to me like they had little mice and clowns, you know, with cameras and stuff in the back. They're almost on their knees walking across the back of the Intrepid there while they're broadcasting this thing. There was no attempt at professionalizing this whole thing, and it was almost like, you know, on every floor of the Intrepid, except that you couldn't tell that it was an aircraft carrier. They had their MSNBC broadcasters doing some kind of take on this thing. It was just ridiculous. It was just the whole thing, the substance of it, everything was ridiculous. What they wanted to talk about, what they should have talked about, was what qualifies you to be the commander-in-chief. And when I got all done with that whole hour, I was convinced neither one of them were qualified to be commander-in-chief.
Well, it was interesting to me that Lair basically with Clinton was trying to point to the fact that, you know, you have the quote unquote experience here, so but why should we trust you? And he's talking to Donald Trump was more like, well, what qualifies you? And the first thing that came across my mind was, well, gee, I remember the Clintons back in 2008 telling the public that Barack Obama wasn't qualified. He had no experience. Yeah. So I'm like, well, you know, why? But I thought was comedic. That what was really comedic to me when you were talking about the beginning, asking Hillary Clinton, please, you know, answer the questions and don't bash your opponent. I thought the way Trump handled it, I chuckled at it. I actually laughed at it. He was saying, Lair said, you heard me say to Mrs. Clinton, and it didn't completely work out toward the end there. As much as possible, I'd like you to tell our veterans and our people at home why you are prepared for the role of commander-in-chief and try to keep the attacks to a minimum. Right? Yeah. And says to a minimum, absolutely. Perfect. To a minimum. I guess that's a question of definition. And
well, here's the deal, John. She was told specifically not to do it. Now, he was instructed just to keep it to a minimum. He wasn't instructed not to do it.
Well, the funny was the way that Trump responded was more like, yeah, okay, I heard you. And I'll try to keep it to a minimum. And Laura said, well, you know what I mean by a minimum, right? Well, that's up to definition, you know.
I just, there's a part of me, John, that takes me back up to, the end of September when they're going to have the first debate. And there's a part of me that's going to be just as disappointed in that as I was in this. The truth is, if they were going to waste my time with an hour, I wish they'd have had them both on stage at the same time, no Matt Lauer, and just had them go at it.
Oh, I see. I kind of see it differently. I think these debates are going to be the most telling. And I'll tell you why. What's happening here? Hillary Clinton's been spending all of her time trying to hide the fact that she's got some kind of physical or mental disability that nobody wants to talk about. Her whole campaign has been centered around not being in the public eye and basically letting everybody else run the campaign third party. We don't want Hillary out there because nobody's really into her. Nobody really cares about her.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Trump is out almost every day giving speeches on policy. And this guy, they're going to go in these debates if it continues down this trajectory. I'm not saying that it won't change, but if it continues the way it's going, Trump is going to have faced all the ridicule, all the criticism. He's going to be able to make his adjustments. Hillary's going to come out being able to do only what she's been doing, and that is to stick to talking points and try to defend herself and try to attack her opponent as being crazy.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, because I've pretty much said it. I'm not happy with either one of them. But the thing is, if you think about this, in a 2-week period, Trump has regained the 12-point deficit that he had.
Well, that's what I mean. He's out there doing what he needs to do. Everybody said, well, he doesn't have enough boots on the ground. There's not enough money. He doesn't need to do that because Trump he's the brand and he gets the airtime. He doesn't need all those people to run the campaign for him. The only thing they need to be doing is answering the phone and taking donations.
Yeah.
That's really all because either it's going to be this massive influx of new voters that like Trump are going to show up or they're not. The black community for Hillary Clinton is dying. Nobody wants to show up and vote for this woman. Yeah, okay, I support her. It's kind of like putting a bumper sticker on your car. That doesn't mean anything. Okay.
Well, yeah. You know what? Did you catch her saying that she will not put troops in Syria? We've already got 5,000 troops there now.
Yeah, I guess the special forces guys are just magically freaking floating above the ground.
Yeah, I mean, do you really think that the men and women that we have over there are not in battle? Are you kidding me?
You know how Hillary Clinton will explain that away if somebody brings that back to her memory? That, hey, we got troops over there already. Well, they're not really wearing boots. We got them all wearing sandals.
Yeah, you know what? And they're not in battle. They're just dying from natural causes, right?
So, yeah, I'm waiting to see how that plays out here. If the media picks up on it at all. The big thing right now is the smartest woman, the most qualified person to run for the office of presidency since Thomas Jefferson, if Barack Obama is to be believed, all of a sudden has an issue that she's being treated different. Well, not all of a sudden. But right now, the gender card is starting to come out now because Matt Laird took her to task. He asked her one question more than once. And he didn't allow her to filibuster it. So it's that's going to be interesting. But I think
you know what, I got to tell you, John, you got to have a problem. There's a lot of problems with Hillary Clinton, but you know what? When Donald Trump says she doesn't look presidential, this is a woman that she can't even make a judgment call on how to look good in clothes, for God's sakes.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like she's got Omar the tent maker. Maybe that's why she's so.
I think Kim Jong-un is the guy that is sending her clothes.
I saw a meme the other day that had Kim Jong and Hillary Clinton and Dr. Evil, and it says apparently there's some kind of dress code for world dominance. Anyway, we're out of time here. I wanted to give you time to plug your show.
All right. Listen, folks, listen to me every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And on Mondays and Fridays, you can listen to me and John at the same time. You know what? If John's show's on and you're a listener of John's show, just listen to me on my archives and the same thing back and forth. Go to my website at robertcardozalive.com and get my app. It's absolutely free. You can get it on any of your smartphone app sites. It's absolutely free and the best way to listen to my show. Hey, guys, thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on next Monday.
All right. You take care, my friend. God bless. Okay, guys, it's time to...
All right, fellas. Now, when we come back, we're going to be with our own David Garrett on the law. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the bowels of the Hall of Justice, our own legal guru, David Garrett, attorney at law.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:02 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64 degrees. That'll be nice. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in London, England, well, it's 66 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 64 degrees and it's clear there too. But I'll tell you what, you want to talk about clear? Let's talk about the brains and the head of my good buddy David Garrett. David's here and his head is clear. We're going to talk about Garrett on the law. Hey, David, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing terrific. You got any fish in your freezer?
No, I haven't been for a couple of weeks.
Oh, my, I thought you were going to try and go out last weekend.
Yeah, I tried to, but we ended up going to up to northern Idaho and rode around on an ATV up in the hills. So.
Are you telling me they got no fish in Idaho?
Well, they do, but it was raining a little bit, and I didn't want to stand in a bathtub and be rained on. So.
Rain? What is rain? What is rain? What is that?
You know, living here in Southern California, you kind of wonder, don't you?
Yeah, you sure do. You sure do. So many things going on. Hey, you know, I wanted to ask you something. It's just kind of been bugging me, and I know if the other way around it would be okay. I mean, you know, if somebody is a celebrity, somebody's in the public life, people can talk about them, and it's kind of like a free for all. It's okay, and you can't sue for defamation, that kind of stuff. But you know, when somebody in public life takes aim at somebody in private life, you know, and what I'm really thinking about is when Trump was actually defaming these I can't think of their names, and I'm sorry, Khan from you know, that lost their son in Afghanistan, and he was insulting them. Is there a law that protects them from that kind of crap?
It wouldn't necessarily be what we classically call a law. It would be the possibility of civil suit against Trump for what he's saying in that case. But, you know, the standards are different between somebody, like you say, that's in the public eye and somebody that is not. And the interesting question would be whether they put themselves in the public eye, thereby loosening the standard for what's considered defamation by showing up there in the didn't they go to the Democratic National Convention or something?
So you know what? It just seems to me. I don't want to go there. I am so ticked off. I have joined the 70% of the United States citizens who don't like either candidate.
Oh yeah, I kind of right in there with you.
You know, there's a part of me that says, you know, that very top line where it says who you're voting for president. I might just might as well just leave that one blank and then vote the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying that, you know, you really need to cast a vote, but the truth is, I don't like either one of them. I don't like anybody. I don't like any of the four. I don't like Hillary. I don't like Trump. I used to support Trump, but now I think he's a can short of a six pack. And I also think he's a bigot, and I think he's prejudiced. And I don't want any of that in my country or my life. The other thing is that, and of course Hillary is a crook and you know what? And if we had done what Hillary had done, you and I'd be in jail. They'd throw away the key, and we'd never see daylight again. And then you've got this idiot Gary Johnson, who's running for president of the United States and doesn't even know what the heck's going on in Syria. And this other gal is being indicted for painting on some wall or something, that the Greenpeace gal. So, you know, I just, you know, what has happened to this country? We can't come up. You know what? I just really think that we ought to go to some mentally challenged high school and pick one of the boys or girls from there. They could do a much better job than all these professionals that I've been supposedly listening to.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of truth there. I mean,
at least they know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah. You know, they ought to make that a litmus test for being able to run for president.
Yeah. I mean,
you know that, and tell the truth, and
yeah,
you know, but
you know, the fact that Hillary did not get indicted, but that it was proven that she abused, what's the word I want to use? Confidential information in her emails and all the rest of the stuff that's going on. That alone should have disqualified her for running for president. And Donald Trump, this guy is just a can short of a six pack. I don't get it. I honestly don't believe he really wants to win, even though, you know, he's made up the 12-point deficit within the last 2 weeks. That's because people just don't know what the heck to do.
Yeah.
And then, did you watch the forum on Wednesday, the Commander-in-Chief forum?
No, I didn't know. What happened?
Oh, you were a lucky guy. You're one of the few people that didn't waste an hour. I wasted a whole hour watching that thing.
Wow.
It was sick and sorry and silly and stupid. And, you know, and if the debates go this way, you know, I think that these two are making the United States citizenry bitter about this whole process.
Yeah. The thing I hate the most is they're deliberately and intentionally, I think, trying to divide the country.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just have a major problem with that. But you know, why should you pit one group against another group just so you get more votes from whichever particular group you identifies with you? That's a sad state of affairs.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. It's just, it's just crazy stuff going on. I just don't understand any part of it. It's just, I don't know what the heck to make of any of it.
Yeah. So what was the outcome of that commander-in-chief thing?
Well, you know what? I don't really know what the outcome was, because the truth is I didn't learn anything about anybody. The whole purpose of it was so that they could tell us how they qualify and what they would do to be commander-in-chief. And by the time they got all done, it was business as usual. You didn't hear anything. There was no proof, no substance to why they should be commander-in-chief.
Huh, interesting.
It was just sick crap is what it was.
Yeah. I'm just espousing my own view here. But
yeah.
I think if I was in the military, I'd be scared to death to have Clinton as my commander-in-chief, just because I wouldn't think she'd have my back.
Well, that's for sure.
And Trump, on the other hand, I would be a little bit worried, because you kind of wonder what's he going to do depending on the side of the bed he wakes up on in the morning.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know what? He might have declared war this morning, sent nuclear weapons at noon, and then changed his mind at dinner.
Yeah, what I'm hoping is that at some point in time, as opposed to getting sound bites from the media, that let's face it, I think they all have their point of view they want to support. I would like to just really hear from these people without all the nonsense, so I could do an evaluation.
Oh, yeah. Why is it they just can't tell us the truth? Why can't they just tell us what they think? They don't have to tell us what they're going to do. I do understand, although I don't think Donald Trump's got a plan, but I do understand that if he did have a plan, I sure wouldn't put it out on national television so that all of my enemies would know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the whole thing's just amazing.
Yeah.
I just sit back and go, when are you guys going to stop? But you're talking about this, and I just saw another thing that came floating through today, and I would call it party line voting or blanket voting. Mm-hmm. And there's a state back east, I want to say Wisconsin or one of them places like that. Mm-hmm. That apparently the ballot is set up in a fashion where, be you Republican or be you Democrat, you can just pick to vote completely along party lines.
Oh, really? You just check this box and it covers everything on that party all the way down?
Yeah. And that apparently got challenged in one of the courts, and then an appellate court upheld it as constitutional. And
why is it that the people can't do what they want to do if there's not breaking any law, for gosh sakes? If they want to make it easy, I can tell you this: my grandparents. And my parents, for that matter, they're both long gone, but they were staunch, dyed-in-the-wool Democrats, right? They were Roosevelt Democrats and Truman Democrats. And here's the thing with them: you could be a serial killer, but if you were a Democrat, you were going to get their vote, because when the ballot came down, it was bomb, 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 all the way down on the Democratic side. Now, on my end of it, when my mom found out that I voted for Richard Nixon, she didn't talk to me for 3 weeks. She just, and then when she realized I was a registered Republican, I was in real trouble.
Oh,
you know,
there went the inheritance.
Yeah, So here the thing is that what they really ought to do, instead of this baloney about, hey, if you're a Democrat, you get a Democratic primary ballot. If you're a Republican, you get a Republican ballot. Nobody else gets a preliminary ballot. That's wrong. But if you're an independent, you can vote in whatever party. You can vote in the general because everything is right there. I don't understand why, if you register as an independent, you can't have a ballot that shows everybody on there and you choose who you want.
Oh, I think you ought to have that.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think you ought to be able to vote across party lines.
Sure, I do too. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's why you would be you know what? I'm a conservative by nature, and I'm a registered Republican. But I'll tell you what, it's getting harder and harder to admit that in the public. That you're a Republican. Most of the time, I just avoid politics altogether. Unless I'm on the show, obviously, but basically, it just seems to me that what people should do is be able to choose, regardless of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or a Green Party person, a Purple People Leader. I don't care what it is. You need to choose the very best person in your opinion that is going to be good for you. And then let the majority of the country, and forget about all of this electoral college and all the rest of it. Hey, you know what? The majority wins.
Yeah. I could be behind that. I don't know. With the way this last election's going, I've thought about becoming independent simply because I'm so disgusted with everything that it's like, and I tend towards the conservative side of things, but
it's hard. It's hard to be in business. Very difficult to be in business and not support, the conservative policies. But the thing is that regardless of what persuasion you have, you don't have to be a Republican to believe in conservative policies or things. A matter of fact, there are a lot of Democrats that lean toward conservatism, just not republicanism, And so the thing is that you ought to be able to vote your conscience. You ought to be able to vote what's best for you, and it shouldn't be anybody's fault. You know what? Last time I looked, we had a secret ballot. But when was the last time you watched the news that the broadcasters weren't trying to force people to say who they were going to vote for?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No, they're going to extract that. And, the thing that I am just completely over is we're, 40 years since the abortion thing? Mm-hmm. And that's still a litmus test for people out there. I mean, shouldn't that be done and over with? Shouldn't the door be closed on that? Yeah, I've got my personal view on whether it's appropriate or not. But
and you can live your conscience.
Yeah.
You can live your conscience.
Can live theirs.
It was the same thing with the voters' rights bill. I don't know how the Supreme Court justices got their heads stuck up their asses, but the truth is they should never ever have taken that off the books, because what they said, they don't need it anymore. Well, if you don't need it, you don't have to get rid of it. Just leave it there. And the minute they got rid of it, all of a sudden you started having reapportionment, and all of a sudden you started making it impossible for people to get to the polls, and they started, doing things just politically motivated that was not in the best interests of the people of the United States.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we leave it to our politicians. Something's going to come out that's completely screwy. Oh yeah. It is just one big game, and you and I are pawns in that game. These guys, you think about, we got 535 guys up in Washington D.C. By the way, we just spent $60 million on renovations to the nation's capital, where they had like 1,000 different leaks and stuff going on, and it was to fix it up. Yeah, we spent $60 million on a building with 535 people in it that don't even do their jobs, and they get paid $250,000 a year. Only in America.
Oh, yeah. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So listen, when we come back from this commercial break, what are we going to talk about?
Well, I got something here that might be kind of entertaining, and it has to do with web watcher software.
Oh, that sounds great. Great.
Okay. Leave it with that, and we can chat about this when we get back.
All right. Before we go off for a break, give out some contact information.
Okay. We can be reached by phone at 909-945-5000 or on the web at www.lawbbg.com.
And we'll be right back with David Garrett on the law after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. Holy mackerel, it's getting hotter. It's not getting cooler. It's 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 64 degrees. That'll be nice. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 68 degrees and mostly cloudy. It's also tomorrow, and it's only about 23 minutes after midnight. Also, if you are in Hong Kong, it's 79 degrees and it's clear. It's 7:30 in the morning and it's also tomorrow. So you know what? If you want to get tomorrow's news today, just listen to what we're saying right now with our own David Garrett on the law. Hey, David, you got the microphone, my friend.
Okay. Well, what this Web Watcher case is about, and the company's name's actually Awareness Technology, is there was this lady, Catherine, and she's married to a guy named Joe, but they didn't have a happy marriage. So she starts participating in an online metaphysics chat room hosted by American Online. And apparently during the course of this, her playing in the chat room, she starts communicating with a guy named Lewis. And as one might expect, she was playing a lot of time on the internet. Lewis lives in Florida, and Catherine lived in Ohio. Well, the husband, Joe, becomes a little suspicious of what she's doing on the internet and goes out and buys a software program known as Web Watcher, which he installs on Catherine's computer. And then you read through about this Web Watcher software, and apparently what it does is it in real time captures everything that's going on in the computer. So like the chat room communications is capturing. It'll capture instant messenger, capture any of the input the user is doing, and then compiles all this stuff and sends it to a server operated by this Awareness Technologies, where the spying spouse can go down and look and see what's being said. In addition, it has what they call alert words, so that if certain words pop up in the in the text that's being sent there, it apparently gives an alert to who's ever installed the Web Watcher stuff, and they can go in and read whatever's on the website. So it's a fairly sophisticated program. Well, as a result of all these communications, Joe and Catherine end up getting divorced. And apparently Joe uses the information from his Web Watcher software to, obtain terms more favorable than he might have otherwise in the divorce. The case admits that it's a platonic relationship between the two. They never met. They were just simply back and forth across state lines doing this thing through the chat room. This all gets Lewis kind of upset. So he files a lawsuit against Joseph, against the maker of Web Watcher or Web Watcher Awareness Technologies, and argues that there's a violation of the Federal Wiretap Act, the Ohio Wiretap Act, and Ohio Common Law invasion of privacy by using this software.
Wow.
So it goes through the general thing, and at the district court, it's kicked out on some technical grounds, basically asserting that, you distill it all out, that it wasn't the Web Watcher software acting independently and Awareness doing the spying. It was the responsibility should be lying with the user of the software, or in this case, Joseph, who put it on the machine. Excuse me. So this gets through the courts, and they go through a very lengthy analysis of what constitutes a wiretap and, acquiring that information, and ultimately conclude that awareness technology, the maker of WebWatcher, could in fact be sued just for providing the software that Joe used to go out and record all these conversations. I think the interesting part of all that is normally, simple possession of wiretap software, if it's not used, doesn't, or, devices, phone device, whatever it is, just because you have it doesn't constitute a crime. It's the act of using the item where the criminal or civil liability attached. And so that's kind of Awareness's argument.
Are they saying that he used it after they separated?
No, they were married at the time. So, and the computer software says, well, we just make a tool. It should, if there's any responsibility, it should be on the user, the guy who buys our software, in this case, Joe, and who puts it on there and then monitors all the various communications. The court wasn't persuaded too much by that. A lot of the problem with it was the software itself was grabbing this information and sending it back to a server that, in this case, happened to be, I think, in California, and then was even itself monitoring the communication by use of those alert words where, certain phrases trigger the notification. So they found they could be possibly be held liable under the federal Wiretap Act and under the Ohio Wiretap Act. And then, very interestingly, just under common law theory of invasion of privacy, which they define as wrongful intrusion into one's private activities in such a manner as to outrage or cause mental suffering, shame, or humiliation to a person of ordinary sensibilities. And I guess that's what happened to Lewis, because his little discussion with Joe's wife got made aware to Joe, and apparently he was outraged by that. So I found this case.
Well, let me ask you a couple questions. Because I don't. Where did they live? In Ohio, you say?
One's in Ohio,
and one's in Florida.
And one's in Florida.
Are either one of those states community property states?
I don't think Ohio is. In fact, I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, and then because where my head was going is, who bought the computer? Who owned the computer? And did he just put software on his own computer?
And I think it was a family computer, so it was treated as if it was both of theirs. And to answer your question, yeah, he did have a right to put the software on there. It's just that it's hidden from
the wife,
his wife having any knowledge that the software is there.
Yeah, and she should have had a presumption of privacy, right?
Right. So
what's going to wind up happening to this guy? Is she suing him? I mean, because they're estranged now, right?
Yeah, they sued him, or Lewis, the guy from Florida, sues the husband, and they settled out of court. And then the case is proceeding against the software manufacturer.
So, wow, what a mell of a hiss!
Oh yeah. It's I think the kind of the interesting thing to all this is, a lot of businesses, I suspect, very closely monitor their
Well, you know what? When I was in business, I didn't have that kind of stuff, but I did have my IT guy. I made it very clear to everyone, all of my employees, that those computers were my property, and they were not to use it for personal use, and they were not to use the internet for personal use, and that I was policing that stuff. And I had my IT guy on a regular basis actually give me a report on each of these computers, who they were assigned to, and what was going on with them.
Right.
And under those circumstances, and I actually had an employee manual that stated this in writing that everybody had to sign for. Could I have gotten into trouble for that?
I'd like to say no. And we do basically the same thing here, particularly with, business email. And everybody signs something and it says, yeah, your business email is not private. Don't use it for your personal use. And if necessary, it can be viewed by management.
Yeah, one of the problems that I had, David, was that some of my employees, whether it was on my time or during lunch or whatever it might have been, they'd get on the internet and they'd download something that would create a virus and create all kinds of havoc for me, including financial havoc. And so I had to institute those regulations. And you know what? If you want to play around with the internet, use your own computer, not mine.
Yeah, go blow yours up. You don't need to do it with mine. But, we've had the same thing, and it's, they get onto some site and download something, and the next thing you know, you're dealing with that ransomware.
Yeah. You guys got hit with that once.
Yeah. And after that, I just got one computer for the internet, and you guys use that one if you need to get on the internet. And other than that, don't bug me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, there's so much going on in the world today that you'd almost have to be a Philadelphia lawyer to figure out what the hell's going on. Some of this stuff just seems ridiculous. Some of it seems petty. You would think that the courts would be up to their eyeballs in really serious activity and throw most of this stuff out, but they don't. They really address everything, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And I think the thing that causes me a little concern here is that invasion of the right of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of a nebulous term to my way of thinking. I think at work we're covered because everybody's informed right up front.
Oh, yeah. And
there is no right.
Well, yeah, we tell them that we're monitoring it. We tell them that it's our equipment. They're not free to use it that way. And you know what? You have no right of privacy on my equipment.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the work's protected, and I would probably encourage spouses that don't trust each other maybe to pick a different way other than WebWatcher.
Well, you know what? It's interesting, David, because, with what technology is today and what's going on, I don't know that anything is really safe anymore. You just got to be careful about what you do and what you say and when you say it and where you say it. And, it's interesting. When my wife and I moved, we had all kinds of things that we had acquired over the years and needed to get rid of a lot of it. And the only efficient way to do it was to hire an estate sale company to do it. Well,
really?
And that's what we do. We took the stuff that we wanted to keep, and then we sold everything else at an estate sale. We had a company come out and handle that whole thing. Well, it was interesting because I had a good friend of mine come over for dinner the other night, and his wife says, "Oh yeah, you used the XYZ company for your estate sale." I says, "How the heck did you know that?" She says, "Well, I follow estate sales because I like to see what deals are out there on antiques and things." And I said, "How did you know it was mine?" Because the address is there.
Oh, you're kidding! Wow.
Oh, geez. Yeah, nutty stuff. Anyway, my friend, I guess you never have a real expectation of privacy, especially if you're going out there trying to sell stuff like that. Anyway, it was an efficient way to get rid of the stuff that we no longer could to handle. It didn't make sense to store. What's up for next week? Any idea?
No, I don't yet. I'll give you one tidbit here that would be you might find funny.
Okay.
Do you remember the a kid from, I guess he was Australia, that bought a Subway sandwich, measured it. It was only 11 inches.
Yes. The 11-inch foot-long Subway.
Yeah. Well, that case finally resolved, the class action suits.
Oh.
So, well, it's kind of resolved. Let me say it that way.
What happened?
The settlement is $520,000, and all but $5,000 of the settlement went to cover attorney fees. Okay.
Good.
Now there's another attorney suing the class, saying that this case was so frivolous and that the attorneys prosecuting on behalf of the class didn't win any right or any benefit for the members of the class, that the entire thing should be thrown out. They shouldn't get their attorney fees, and this case should have been dismissed by the court a long time ago. So,
well, you know what? Yeah, you know what's silly. Anyway, my friend, you gonna go fishing this weekend?
No, I got a motorcycle race to go to in up here in Glen Helen.
Hey, don't forget to wear your helmet.
Well, I'm going to. I'm a participant, or not a participant, a spectator this time.
Okay.
So,
all right. So then you stay safe and stay happy, and keep everybody around you happy too. And you know what? Take a lot of business cards, pass them out. They're going to need them.
I'm going to do it.
All right, my friend. You take care, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Have a good week.
All right. And the rest of you folks, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And right after that, we'll do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story? Well, Clarence who? Yeah, I'll tell you all about it. Don't go away, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000. 5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:43 p.m. Pacific time. Still 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's down from 92 on its way to 62. Let's wait so get it to start going down that direction, for Pete's sake. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Auckland, New Zealand, well, it's 55 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 66 degrees and it's partly cloudy. But I'll tell you what, let's get right to our Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is get over your resistance to having difficult conversations. You know, you can't be an effective leader if you're unwilling to have tough conversations from time to time. Whether you're giving critical feedback to an underperformer or explaining why the team has been restructured, don't avoid uncomfortable situations. It's better to address them head on, and here's how. First of all, shift your mindset. Don't think of it as a difficult conversation. See it as an opportunity. More often than not, tough discussions can actually strengthen personal bonds if you handle them well. And regulate your emotions. You're likely to be scared, anxious, even angry. Allow yourself to feel those feelings, but then focus on the task at hand. And then finally, be direct. Don't hem and haw. Say what you need to say directly and honestly while also expressing compassion. That's what you got to do. Just do it. You can't get away from it. It's going to be there. So you might as well get it done. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. And the truth is all about a positive mental attitude. You hear me say it every day. You really decide if you're going to be happy, sad, rich, or poor, whether you're going to be successful or a failure. You're going to decide if people around you are going to be happy. You do it every morning. When you get up, you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a productive, profitable day today. It's going to be a terrific day. It's all about your positive mental attitude. Now, the secret for today is from Genevieve Barind. Actually, she was born in 1881 and died in 1960, and says, we all possess more power and greater possibilities than we actually realize, and visualizing is one of the greatest of these powers. Well, isn't that what we've been saying? Sure it is. It's exactly what we've been saying. Well, you know what today is. Sure you do. Everybody knows what today is. Today is Friday. It's September the 9th, and it is somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah. You know what? It is somebody's birthday, and we've got some terrific ones for you today. So, you know what? Why fumble around with it? Let's just get right to it. You know, here's a guy born in 1941, passed away early in 1967. He's a soul singer who is often called the King of Soul. Happy birthday, Otis Redding. And here's a guy that maybe most of us know, born in 1960, an actor, film producer whose movies have earned more than $2.4 billion from 25 theatrical releases worldwide. Happy birthday, Hugh Grant. And here's somebody born 1980, an actress. She broke into stardom on the series Dawson's Creek and later, most notably, Brokeback Mountain. Happy birthday to Michelle Williams. Yes, sir. Well, you want to know what happened in history today? I'm going to tell you. On September the 9th, 1791, Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, is named after President George Washington. Yeah, you probably knew that, but you didn't know when. How about this? In 1850, California is admitted as the 31st United States state. Yeah. 1850. And here's the important one, guys. On September the 9th, 1956, Elvis Presley appears on the Ed Sullivan Show for the very first time, sang 2 songs, and got paid $100,000. And in 1956, that was big, guys. Well, our Our quote for today comes from Golda Meir, the late prior Prime Minister of Israel. And she says, "Don't be so humble. You're not that great." Well, we could say that about most of our politicians, can't we? Sure we could. Well, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. We got a number of good ones for you. Did you know that some comedians have the ability to change color? This helps them communicate with each other and can also be used for camouflage. That's why they call them comedians, I guess. Here's one. Did you know that there is air in space, but very little of it? In fact, it's equivalent to a marble in a box 5 miles wide. Most of the gas is captured by the gravitational pull of other celestial bodies. Thanks, M. Lerner. How about this? Did you know that MetLife Stadium, home to the New York Giants and New York Jets, is located in New Jersey? Yeah, give that a thought. Here's one for you. Richard F. has pointed out possible inaccuracies with the trivia for December the 16th and January the 1st. For this reason, I have decided to pull them. So we're not going to do them. Inaccuracies, I guess. How about this? Of all the languages in the world, English has the largest vocabulary, about 800,000 words. Wow. Can you imagine? Most people speak the English language, and they only have a vocabulary of between 300 and 500 words, and there are 800,000 to choose from. Give that a thought. Here's one for you. The Niagara Falls have eroded their way 10 miles upstream since they were first formed some 10,000 years ago. Now, the tremendous amount of water tends to eat through its limestone base relatively rapidly. And if erosion continues at its present rate, geologists estimate that the falls will disappear completely in 22,000 years. That's not good news. Well, let me leave you with this. Draftsmen have to make 27,000 drawings for the manufacturing of a new car. Give that some thought while we're on this commercial break. And don't go away, because when we come back, it's the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey in the rest of the story.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And at 4:54 p.m. Pacific time, still 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you happen to be in Tokyo, Japan, it is currently 81 degrees with scattered clouds. In Madrid, Spain, 75 degrees and clear. But right now, let's do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Yes, sir. This is our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. The man was just a phenomenal guy, the biggest and best voice in America, and he reveals the storming heartbeats behind the headlines. Today's story is Clarence Who. You know what? Today, in an age of nostalgia, in an age of vicariousness, at a time of twice-removed excitement and second-handed adventure, some content themselves with retracing the steps of the early explorers, the pioneers, and the pilgrims. It's still dangerous. Perhaps the Kon-Tiki raft was in the vanguard of this movement. Later, others would attempt to ford Bering Strait in a kayak, to struggle across the Pacific in a sampan or an outrigger canoe. And it's still exciting enough so that some are willing to die trying. One Irish author even attempted to prove that the Irish discovered America by rowing his way here from there. Now, the people crossing the ocean in hours, we've forgotten the drill of what Lindbergh really did in a highly fallible, one-lung light plane. It just isn't done, even today. Crossing oceans nonstop in a single-engine aircraft? But even after Lindy, many have dreamed of reliving his triumph, his accomplishment. Now, let me tell you about Clarence. Clarence Chamberlain. He, too, was fascinated with the idea of crossing the Atlantic solo, and some might say that with the Lone Eagle to show the way, that after Lindbergh proved it could be done, the flight would be an easy one. But that wasn't the case. Pilot Clarence Chamberlain must have admired Lucky Lindy. The plane Chamberlain chose was so similar. The engine almost identical. Perhaps in the same way modern-day Olympians take pride in besting past records set. Clarence would go up one up on Lindbergh. He'd take off from New York, all right, but he wouldn't stop till he got to Berlin. There was a good deal of excitement connected with his flight plan. Movie rights were already being discussed long before Chamberlain ever left the ground. There was even a discussion as to whether Clarence himself was right for the adventure because he wasn't the motion picture type. Before long, a millionaire named Levine put up the money. A designer named Blanca drew up the plans, and an aircraft called the Columbia was ready to skim the Atlantic. Chamberlain got his first good weather map on Friday afternoon, June the 3rd, but a last-minute check was still running, and he wouldn't take off till Saturday morning. There were 13 5-gallon tins of gasoline aboard, each to be emptied into the main tank as the flight progressed and then thrown into the sea. Keeping the weight down was important, but other necessities included a pistol for firing distress signals, a rubber lifeboat, a flashlight, 2 vacuum bottles filled respectively with chicken soup and coffee, 10 chicken sandwiches, a half dozen oranges, 2 canteens of water, some Army emergency rations, some chewing gum, and extra flight clothes for use at night over the North Atlantic. Chamberlain worked on his plane in the hangar until 1:30 Saturday morning. He was back in his hotel room bed by 2, left a wake-up call for 3:30, didn't sleep. Had he forgotten anything? Would the good weather hold for the morning? How might Lindbergh have felt? He wondered just hours before his daring flight. At that rate, a few minutes after 6 a.m., Clarence was up and on his way to rivaling history. And he made it across the Atlantic, past Paris, and on to Berlin, to better Lindbergh's record. That you've probably not heard of Clarence Chamberlain can be attributed to the fact that his feat had been previously accomplished. That does not diminish what he did. It was still daring, still dangerous, and especially when you consider one other factor. Had Clarence Chamberlain been first, he'd have been famous, but he wasn't first. His name and the nostalgic flight he took received comparatively little attention, only because another pilot, Slim Lindbergh, had made a lesser flight just 14 days before. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, you know what? My next show, John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and I are going to be talking about conservative politics again on our semi-weekly simulcast. John Hanson's going to be here, that little old wine drinker. He'll be talking about food and wine, and then I'll continue the tribute to our late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. The story next on my next show is an anthem for the enemy. I'll tell you all about that next time.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.